Hi, it's Joe. Welcome to the Quilt Report. Well, here's my system. As I pin and unpin quilt tops, quilts, pieces of quilt tops and everything up onto my design wall here, I inevitably bend some of the pins. And I decide if they're bent so badly that they can't be functional anymore. This one is kind of borderline, but let's just say that I decided it was too far bent. Then I stick it in the side of my design wall. And then eventually, I take my pins that are too bent to use and I put them in my bent pin box. There's a lot of pins in there at this point. Sometimes used sewing needles go in here. It's primarily pins though. And every few years, my pin box gets so full that I have to empty it out somehow. And when I empty out my pin box, I reflect on all the glorious things these pins did for me over the years. Pinning the seams together, pinning little applique bits in place, pinning quilts onto the walls during all these videos I make, during classes and everything. Pinning things up so I could look at them and think, and then getting bent through no fault of their own as I unpin, as I drag things down and all of that. I think about the service these pins have done for me. I think about what my life would have been like in the early 1800s before the invention of this kind of pin, when you had to make your own pins out of wire. Imagine, and sharpen them. Sheesh. That was a different world. Well, yesterday I couldn't find my box of T-pins to install a quilt in the long arm. I couldn't find it. I looked all over. It was right in an obvious place. But instead, I walked over to the my local fabric store, fabric warehouse, and I bought a couple boxes of T-pins. And I used my new T-pins from one box to install the quilt in the frame, which emptied up this box right here. Guess what I'm going to do with that? You guessed it. So today is the day that I say farewell to my friends, these little pins that have done me so much beautiful service. I thank you, pins. And I'm going to bury you in my yard at home. All right? All right. Thanks for stopping by. See you soon. Oh, wait a minute. One more thing. I had to take Pat Pauley's quilts down off the wall this week and send them back to New York. And so I got to put a bunch of my own quilts up. So if you're around, come and see me in San Francisco. Email me or message me, and you can see my new show. Including what? Oh, including my quilt called The Sleeping Protesters of Kiev, which is eventually going to go to Ukraine